But this is the idea that banking is not what you think it is. Now, this is really fascinating because most people, and believe me, banks have cultivated this image that when you go and you deposit your money at the bank, they have a big vault and your money goes into the vault and they hold that money for you. I mean, they send you an account statement and it's got a balance on it. So they're holding that money in an account for you, right? Right? Oh, wrong. They're actually not holding that money at all. Now, they do send you this statement, but that doesn't mean they actually have the money that appears on the statement. That's just more like a ledger saying what they know they owe you. And in fact, once you deposit money in the bank, are you aware of the fact this is true? It's no longer your money. Now, when you take it back out of the bank, it's your money again. But when you deposit it into the bank, it's the bank's money.
But we have FDIC.
Well, you do have the FDIC, correct. And I mean, there's some mechanisms for you to be made whole again. But what we're talking about is legally, whose money is it? And it's the bank's. Now, let's hear. This is from Professor Richard Werner, who makes a great explanation of banking. And I tried to just pull out a couple of clips for you because this stuff is just fascinating. It should blow your mind. So let's listen to what he has to say about the fact that banks don't take deposits.
The legal reality is banks don't take deposits and banks don't lend money. So what is a deposit? A deposit is not actually a deposit. It's not a bailment. It's not held in custody. At law, the word deposit is meaningless. The law courts and various judgments have made it very clear if you give your money to a bank, even though it's called a deposit, this money is simply a loan to the bank.
That's right. That is the actual legal status of the money that you put into your account at the bank. You've essentially loaned them money. Now, legally, they have to pay that back to you, but what happens if they don't? You could get a judgment against them, and what good is that if they're bankrupt? And by the way, all banks are functionally insolvent because there's something in this country called fractional reserve banking, and it means that not only do they loan out the money that you deposit to them, but they also loan out 10 times more. So they have just only a very small fraction of the money that they would need to fulfill all of those accounts if everybody came at the same time and said, we want our money now. And that's how runs on the banks happen because the banks literally don't have the money. And you say, but surely they make loans and things like that. No, let's hear from Professor Werner what he has to say about that, because it's not what you think it is either.
What about lending? Surely they're lending money. No, they don't. Banks don't lend money. Banks, again, at law, it's very clear, they're in the business of purchasing securities. That's it. So you say, okay, don't confuse me with all that legalese. No, I want a loan. Yeah. Fine, here's the loan contract, here's the offer letter, and you sign. At law, it's very clear, you have issued a security, namely a promissory note, and the bank is going to purchase that. That's what's happening.
Right, and the banks don't have the money somewhere. That's the other thing. I mean, they loan it out at interest, right? So that must be money they're going and getting out of their account that they're then loaning at interest. No, they're fabricating that loan money out of thin air. So how are they allowed to charge interest on something that basically didn't cost them anything? You can look into all of these issues. It's something called the Mandrake mechanism, right? Mandrake the Magician was a cartoon in the 40s, and it's all about getting something from nothing, and that's the whole secret of banking. We'll tell you more about that later. Folks, I'm Morgan Streetman, and that's the way I see it.
Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And don't forget to exercise your brain at least once a week.